5.5 years after the Bridgegate scandal of 2013 that turned Fort Lee into a parking lot, one of the people at the center of the scandal is facing her future, which may include going to jail, but she's not going quietly.
Mr. Christie, you are a bully, and the days of you calling me a liar and destroying my life are over.
Bridget Kelly is currently out on bail and joins us in our studio this morning. Thank you for coming in to talk about your side of the story. We haven't really heard your side really in 5 years. Let's begin with the fact that the governor has always denied knowing that this was actually going to happen. What did the governor know?
My conversation with him in August was that the Port Authority was going to be conducting a traffic study. So I knew he knew that. Obviously, over time, you find out other things, people testify in court, and there's likely that there was more to it. But what I knew he knew was that there was going to be a traffic study in Fort Lee. You
have always said that this traffic study was to help Christie in his re-election campaign. Did you know, going into this traffic study, which seemed to happen at an odd time, at this school time, that this was going to have severe implications to Fort Lee?
I knew there was going to be, as David had told me, that there was going to be traffic problems in Fort Lee. I'm not sure I ever knew the extent of it, but the rewards, from what I understood, were going to be greater than the problems. And unfortunately, what I know now, it would be a totally different concept, if you will.
So let's talk about that infamous email then,
Sure.
Because it seemed going into it, you're saying that you didn't know there was going to be implications, but there's that famous email now that it's time for some traffic problems
Correct.
in Fort Lee. What did you mean by that?
Well, so if I had said time for a traffic study in Fort Lee, you and I would have never have met. I wouldn't have never have gone to trial. I mean, it would have been so different. And if I could take it back, I would. David had said to me, David Wildstein, that there was going to be traffic problems. David and I had a banter. It was almost like a workplace banter, if you will. It doesn't excuse it, but I was basically reiterating what he had told me.
It wasn't only that email. There were then text
Absolutely.
messages after,
Sure.
while this was happening, school kids that were stuck on school buses, people trying to get to the 9/11 memorial. It didn't look good with that email.
Absolutely.
And then the text messages saying, is it wrong that I'm smiling? When you heard about the kids on the bus, what was that about?
It wasn't about the kids on the bus. So David, I worked in a very male-dominated world, if you will. David was very much like to be right, and the manner in which I expressed justifying prior to that, my response to him was that 95 had opened up. So how it was sold to me was that the North Jersey commuters were going to move faster through the toll lanes to go onto the bridge. I was unfortunately trying to be too cute by half by saying to David, is it wrong that I'm smiling that he's right? And I get it. I have 4 kids. And had I known this was even going to be the first week of school, I mean, again, I'm not a traffic consultant,
right?
But the timing was so poor. And again, hindsight's 20/20. I could do 100 things differently. That's one of them.
Is it doing things differently because you got caught or because you just didn't mean those things?
No, I think that we all send text messages in haste. I think we all send emails in haste. And no, it's not about being caught. It's about being smart.
Governor Christie claims that he knew nothing about this, but he also said that this was due to a romantic relationship gone bad because you had a relationship with a campaign manager that went sour, and this was payback for all of that.
Yeah, no. I mean, they spent $11 million to tell that story, and it's ridiculous.
Was it political retribution for Mark Sokolich, who was not endorsing the governor?
That's the argument that was made by the government. Not on my part. I've never met Mark Sokolich. We had a good relationship with the mayor of Fort Lee. So I'm not, if the Port Authority had a score to settle with him, that's their thing, but not mine.
What is next for you? You're filing for an appeal here.
So we have filed with the United States Supreme Court. We should hear in June as to whether or not they will accept that petition. And I'm preparing to go to prison.
And you have 4 children.
I do.
Some of them are older, some of them are in college. How are you preparing them for this journey ahead?
I don't know that you can ever be prepared. I'm just, we talk. I mean, this is no secret, right? So it's been on the front page of the news. The kids have been amazing, and they are amazing. I have the greatest support system in the world, and their dad and my family and my friends, and we'll just take it one day at a time.
Okay, well, to be continued for sure. Thank you for coming in. I can't imagine it's easy to speak out about this, but I'm glad you are now telling your side of the story. So, Bridget Kelly, thank you once again for coming in. We did reach out to former Governor Chris Christie for a comment or a statement. We haven't heard back from his office yet. The time